Kiki's Delivery Service is one of Studio Ghibli's most well-known and respected movies. Releasing in 1989 from legendary anime director Hayao Miyazaki to critical and commercial acclaim, going on to win every major award it was nominated for, and safely securing the studio as one of the hottest production houses in all of anime. Kiki's Delivery Service follows a young witch during her year away from home, as she struggles to adjust to city life, new friends, establishing her own business, and most of all, growing up. Majo no Takubin, the original children's book from Kadono that the movie was based on, is very different from Miyazaki's finished film. Kadono's novel is more episodic, consisting of small stories about various people and incidents that Kiki encounters while making deliveries. Kiki overcomes many challenges in the novel based on her good heart, and consequently expands her circle of friends. The film, originally intended to be a 60-minute TV special, quickly expanded into a feature film running 102 minutes once Miyazaki finished his script. While he didn't originally intend to direct, after the Studio Ghibli founder's involvement blossomed, he decided to take helm of the passion project. I got to see the film for the first time at the Prince Charles Cinema in the heart of London, which, by the way, is my favourite cinema I've ever been to. Jordan and I saw it together in a 35mm presentation, and we both immediately fell in love with the story. Actually, having Jordan on this episode would have been perfect, but, he's not been answering my calls since I kicked him off the show back during the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them episode. I hope he's okay. For today's video, I'll be taking a look at the English dub, which stars a voice performance by a young Kirsten Dunst in the title role. But before we start walking through the film, I think it's important to quickly take note of some of the differences between the English and the original Japanese version. There's some changed music and sound effects, and quite a few lines of dialogue that have been changed in the translation. Little things like Kiki drinking hot chocolate instead of coffee litter the movie, but ultimately none of these make much of a difference. The biggest change is with Kiki's cat. Gigi is significantly different, with lots more dialogue where the character was previously silent, and his personality here is cynical and sarcastic as opposed to cautious and contentious in the original. Having now seen both versions, I personally much prefer the Japanese version of the character, and how they interact with Kiki and how that ties in to her character development. Whoa! What's happening?
Aha! It is I, Evil Jordan.
Jordan, what are you doing here?
I've come here for revenge. I know you love this show so much, so I've come here to take it away from you.
No, Evil Jordan, please! Anything but that!
I hereby banish you from the set.
No!
Go!
A gorgeously animated lakeside village is where Kiki, a young witch in training, lives with her parents. As she lies in the field staring at the sky and longing for a distant star, the radio alerts her that it's meant to be a clear night. Having heard this news, she rushes home, and after a discussion with her mother, we learn that traditionally in this world, witches must go off on their own and find a place in need of magic once they turn 13, and stay to help out for at least a year, in an effort to refine their skills and prove themselves worthy of the power they were born with. It's basically like Pokemon, but with magic instead of captured wild animals. The family shares a goodbye as Kiki takes flight, bumping into the bells she used during her practice flights as she goes. As a storm arrives, Kiki and Gigi decide to rest for a night in a hay-filled train carriage, and when they awake the next morning, find themselves just outside of a beachside European city. Koriko, the city where Kiki lives, is modelled after the Swedish cities Stockholm and Visby. Kiki's Delivery Service has been made into a Japanese live-action movie in 2013, though that film is set in Japan, like the original novel, unlike the Europe-set Ghibli film. After finding out that her cousin Sabrina isn't living there, the teenage witch decides it's the perfect place for her to spend her year away from home, though she finds the differences in the modern city difficult to adjust to after leaving the traditional country village. As she wanders the streets, she bumps into the young boy, Tombo, who displays an immediate interest in our protagonist. She dismisses him because of his forward attitude, which is clearly foreign to her.
Just go away, leave me alone!
In exchange for accommodation, Kiki helps Osono, a kindly and heavily pregnant baker who quickly accepts Kiki as if she was one of her own. It's from this bakery that Kiki sets up her own delivery service, using her ability to fly to make air deliveries far quicker than would be possible by road in this sprawling and twisting city. Her first delivery doesn't go according to plan though, as she gets mixed up in a misadventure involving angry geese, a lost delivery, a cabin-bound painter named Ursula, and a very kind old dog who helps Gigi, masquerading as the lost toy, escape the home.
He'll do it. He's a good dog.
Kiki returns to the store and her current abode to find Osono and her husband have made her a delivery service sign that is, seemingly at least, made out of bread. So do they have to bake a new one of those every few days, or is it just gonna go stale and moldy?
ヨルダンに何が起こったのだろうか。彼はとても普通で、普通のヨルダンでした。そして今、彼はすべて悪であり、彼は邪悪なヨルダンです。心は本当に重い負担だと思います。
After receiving a couple deliveries for that night, Tombo shows up and invites Kiki to his aviation club meeting. During her second delivery, she meets a lovely old woman who she helps to bake her granddaughter a pie. This setback in time, however, means that Kiki gets caught up in a storm and, after arriving back home, collapses, exhausted. When she recovers, Osono secretly arranges for Kiki to see Tombo again by assigning her a delivery address to him. When Kiki apologizes for missing the party, Tombo takes her for a test ride on the flying machine he's working on, fashioned from a bicycle, which goes about as well as you'd expect. Kiki warms to Tombo beside a new and impressive airship, but is put off by his friend's teasing and walks home. After seeing a recipient's negative reaction to a delivered gift, Kiki becomes depressed and discovers she can no longer understand Gigi, who has been spending more and more time with the neighbour's pretty white cat. She has also almost completely lost her flying ability, and is therefore forced to suspend her delivery service. Kiki is visited by Ursula, the painter from the woods, who suggests that she takes some time away from the city in order to try and discover new purpose. That her crisis may be some form of writer's block, much like what Ursula herself had experienced before she ventured out into the woods. Ursula's newest painting seems to catch Kiki's attention, especially once she learns that she was the inspiration for it. Her loss of flight reflects the damage done to Kiki by her own self-doubts. This hardship causes Kiki to realize that being vulnerable does not always lead to failure, and can help her learn valuable lessons to better understand herself. Gigi served as the wiser voice, an imaginary companion to Kiki, and she stopped being able to understand him the moment she struggles with self-doubt. While visiting Madame, the old lady, she not only discovers that she's made a new friend, but also that the airship has lost control during a strong wind, with her friend Tombo hanging onto a rope for dear life. After running to his aid, Kiki grabs a broom and, with new purpose, flies to his rescue. Though Big Ben does get damaged in the process. Come on, they just finished repairing that. Unlike Andrew Garfield, Kiki is able to catch Tombo when he falls from the airship, saving the day. In the original Japanese script, Kiki loses her ability to communicate with Gigi permanently, but the American version adds a line that implies that she is once again able to understand him at the end of the film, though this was later changed to more closely reflect the original in a recent release. Kiki's delivery service ends with the young witch, now much matured from when she first came here, telling her family how she loves the city, even if sometimes things don't always go right.
I mean, what am I to do?
Yo!
Who said that?
Yo, over here!
Are you a talking hat?
I am a talking hat.
Why?
Feels like a Studio Ghibli thing.
I think it's usually talking cats, not hats.
Well, maybe if you gave the episode a bigger budget, we could actually afford a cat.
Fair point.
So here's the wrap. Normal Jordan has been taken over by a dark spirit, which has turned him into evil Jordan.
Whoa!
The dark power resides inside the wand he's using. As Handsome Craig, there's no way you can defeat him, but if you put on this fez, you'll receive the power to become Good Craig!
Wait, so a female talking hat is going to give me magical powers?
Did you just assume my gender?
Kiki's Delivery Service is probably not technically the best Ghibli film, but it is by far my favourite. My heart warmed to the inclusiveness right from the beginning. Kiki and her mother are witches, but unlike traditional Western narratives, witches are neither feared nor particularly revered, but rather just accepted. The film's visuals are absolutely stunning. Obviously, the animation itself is going to look great in a Ghibli film, but the bright, sunny, highly saturated city of Kuriko gives the audience a truly wonderful hour and 40 minutes to enjoy. But beneath the beautifully animated surface lies a surprisingly progressive look at femininity. I think the fact that Kiki is a girl who surrounds herself in this new place with positive female role models is an impressive feat for an 80s film to do. Men are presented equally positively to the women, but this variety of roles adopted by the female characters was and still is uncommon in popular cinema. Kiki is on the cusp of adolescence, the transition between childlike wonder and the fear of the first few steps of adulthood. Miyazaki portrays this by combining the excitement of an unknown future while at the same time holding on to her childhood in the form of her black cat, Gigi. Miyazaki has stated that Gigi represents the immature side of Kiki, and this implies that Kiki, by the end of the original Japanese version at least, has matured beyond talking to her cat. The film carefully and lightly broaches universally relatable coming-of-age topics such as insecurity, independence, responsibility, and, what feels particularly ambitious for a Western audience, sexuality. I love Disney, but it's far from a secret that Disney make movies for kids to ultimately distract, entertain, and sell things to their target audience and their parents. I love Studio Ghibli, not only because they make a consistently great selection of movies, but because when they tell these stories to children, they're not looking just to entertain, but they're also looking to help. Miyazaki is one of the founding fathers of Ghibli, and is typically considered one of the greatest anime directors of all time. And Kiki's Delivery Service, I believe, is his most important and best piece of art to date.
Well, let's do this. Whoa!
Damn you all for watching. I hope you hated this video, and if you did, don't hit the like button, and definitely don't subscribe to see next week's video. I hope you have a truly terrifying day, and you never reach tomorrow.